This conference will now be recorded.
Good afternoon and welcome to today's Charts of the Day video. Today we're going to look at casinos and resorts, or resorts and casinos, whichever you prefer, and start with the larger of the market caps, looking at Las Vegas Sands LVS. Off of the 2009 low, we can count a completed 5 waves up at primary degree. This move off of the 2016 low got a more expanded ABC up, but is very clearly corrective, especially with this initial move counting as a clear ABC itself. As a larger B wave, it did not make a higher high over the 2014 high, and the move down looks like a pretty impulsive 5 waves down and a corrective bounce for the 1-2 start of a larger C wave. We're going to zoom in now and look at the subwave count after we have this 5 waves down as intermediate wave 1 and a wave 2 bounce to about a 76.4% retrace off of the B wave high. And then inside that, we have a possible 1-2-1-2 count in the start of that 3rd wave down that targets the lower 30 region, all inside that larger C wave. So we're looking at a corrective bounce off of the August low for that subwave 2, which is coming into resistance, could maybe try and push a little bit higher, but easily counts as a completed WXY into this 382 to 50% retrace. And the third of that parentheses 3 easily targets down here into the 45 to 43 region and possibly even stretching closer to 40. Let's move on and take a look at MGM. MGM is very similar, but not quite as far along, although it can count as similar to some of the banking stocks as a larger cycle degree B wave top here. We have a similar move down and a bigger corrective bounce, which is right at a 618 retrace. Whether we're going to count this as a B wave or as the wave 2, it really doesn't matter because we have the same corrective bounce as a clear ABC setting up for the start of a move down. So as a measured move, that would target the 1675 region for a 100% extension. But I think whether it's a C wave or a third, we can probably easily extend down closer to the 14 to 13 region in both of those. And if it's a third, it will probably just happen a little bit faster. If it's a C wave, it may drag out further into the end of 2020. Moving on to Wynn. Wynn has very, very close to the same subwave count off of this early April 2019 high with a 1-2-1-2 start to the 3rd wave down in a larger C wave. So very, very similar structure there. 5 waves down. This was clearly 3 waves up off of the 2016 low as a larger B wave. 5 waves down into the region that we would expect for wave 1 of this C, and a 1-2-1-2 start into resistance here. It does have potential to get a little bit higher towards the 115 to 125 region, but any break under 103 at this point, and Wynn is probably going to come down pretty fast towards the 80 to 75 region. Next, look at MTN. This one's not actually a casino, more of just a mountain resort company, but it also counts more similar to the rest of the equity market, where the top in 2018 in August counts best as a primary wave 3, even though many charts got an extension of that primary wave 3 into the July top. MTN is one that held as a corrective bounce, is only a B wave, getting to just around the 618 retrace, and has been holding on to that high so far, and hasn't really let go yet. But I think any move under the 231, 230 region will probably get this dropping down closer to 200 to 195 as just wave 1 of that larger C wave down. The ultimate the target for the primary wave 4 is the 130s. You have the 100% extension of the C wave at 147.80, and the 382 and 1236 have confluence. The 382 retrace of primary wave 3 at 132 and the 1236 extension of C wave at 130 region. So that makes that more of an ideal target. Let's move on to CZR. CZR is a little bit less clear long term, but we do have what turned out to be only a clear 3 waves up off of the 2015 low, that spike low there, and what could count as an awkward leading diagonal down, but that's less important. What's really crucial on the CZR chart is that off of the December low, we have a pretty clear ABC move up. We can get a 5th wave of this C, which would be targeting the low 13 region. That would be a 100% extension relative to the A wave and give it a completed 5 waves up. So it doesn't have to get that, but we would certainly benefit from giving it room there before we started to look for more downside. Maybe it pops on earnings or some news and then immediately reverses that. A few other smaller ones. Let's take a quick look at VAC. VAC I think is very interesting because where a lot of things held as a 4th wave and got an extension higher, this dropped well under even the alt level for the 4. Ideally, it would have been holding a 4 here and getting a final high as the parentheses 5 of primary 5, gave it a little bit of room to drop lower, but it couldn't even hold on to that. But it does look like 5 waves up off of this low. And this is not enough of a retrace after 5 up completing at primary degree to consider this the start of something new. So I think what this looks better is more like something like the NYSE, where this is actually the 5th wave, just severely truncated after the 4 technically invalidated. So if you were to tack this on to this spot right here, or even to this spot, it would have made a nominal new high. But here we're just going to count it as severely truncated. Next, we're going to look at HGV. Here we have a very corrective looking flat. We don't have a lot of prior history, but only 3 waves up here. And maybe it stretches a little bit higher, but certainly setting up for some significant downside there. ERI is another one. This looks like a larger diagonal with a clear move up, and possible that this was really an A wave and this is the end of the C wave, but we'll give it the benefit of the doubt of being the 3rd of a diagonal, but still should get a lot more of a retrace in that larger 4th wave. And then lastly, before we get into the really small names, which we'll skip over for the purposes of this video, we'll take a look at BYD. There is some chance of a bullish count getting one more high if it can hold support in this 2150 region. But I'm very concerned that similar to the counts that we have in LVS and MGM and WIN, that we have an A, B, and 5 waves down here for wave 1. Maybe it tries to get more of a wave 2 bounce, but it is even possible to count this as ABC for wave 1, and this is already the start of the 3rd. But I would give this a little bit more room towards the 25-26 region to bounce as a wave 2 if you were trying to short it, or maybe if this breaks the 21-22 region that we were talking about as support, maybe jumping in on a short there as it starts to accelerate down. All right, we'll stop there and I'll get this uploaded for you guys.